Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. This morning we're doing a cattle drive down a public road, and well, here comes the first ones right now. And you can see them coming. There's going to be 233. We had a new calf yesterday, so it's not 32, it's 33. And that new calf, God, is he a handful. We always leave him for a day before we tag him, and he was a bound of energy. But we got him because we let him go right behind his mom, and then we just grabbed him and put the tag in. And a coincidence, his tag number is 007, so that's James Bond, and it is a male. It's a bull calf, so we got 007. Jan's up there on the road. She's got her car parked there and a piece of ribbon tied across. And the boys, Isaac and Ben, are bringing up the rear. And this is their first cattle drive, Isaac and Ben, as far as down a public road like this for a long distance. We're coming out of, I say a long distance, it's about a mile. And it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Of course, it's a stay-at-home order for everybody here in Missouri. And so there's not a lot of traffic out today. And the cows are walking. You notice how they're all walking. They're not running. They're not trotting. They were full. They were full. And we gave them a little break of grass this morning. We always do that. We save a nice grass trap at the other end so they have something to chew on when they come in. When we get ready, we lock them up in this, like, I don't know, it's probably an acre grass trap. And those cows were just happy to go in there, and that grass trap is right by our driveway. And so we were able to catch them, and then when we got the cattle drive going, man, it was simple. We just opened the gate by the driveway, and there they went. So, man, I'd be glad to see the hot sun and get this winter haircut off these animals. They look kind of shabby to me. But, you know, when you get 10 below zero, I'm glad they got a winter haircut, or they'd be miserable in the wintertime. But we've got a bunch of cows bagging up, and there's a big old fat steer. Man, he is really a chunk. Got 2 of those in here ready to go in the freezer. So those are going to be something really nice to look forward to. This farm they're going on to, it wouldn't have hurt, you know, if we'd been here 7 days later, but that happens. It happens. And, but, you know, you look at the tips of these grass. Here's a fescue plant right here in front of me. See, it's got the tips on it. That plant right there is, my gosh, it's clear up to my coat. So it's 9-10 inches tall. I'd like to saw the clover just a little taller, but you know what? We're only going to have them in here about 8 hours. And we're going to move them. But what I wanted to point out on this grass, as the cows come ambling down the road at a controlled, nice walk. Now they're speeding up. There's no dry matter in this grass. We came through with the winter stockpile. See, this is grazed twice in the wintertime. And so there's no dry matter in here at all. And I noticed this morning a few of the cow paths are a little bit runny. And so even though there's a ton of grass in this paddock, we're going to unroll bale. And I did that the other day just for a trial. And boy, those cows, I think their guts are upset. Every single cow went over there and they got them a couple bites of that hay, and you know, 232 times 4 or 5 bites, that bale was gone. There wasn't anything left of it the next morning. So that told me the cows needed dry matter. Cows will tell you what they need. You got to watch the manure in the springtime. It's real runny and soupy. They're just not getting enough dry matter for that spring flush. And people say, well, this grass is washy. Well, you can call it washy if you want, but you can get a really good animal performance on it if you'll give them some dry matter. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We've got a little broom sedge. This is a new farm, 2015. Of course, it's never had any lime or fertilizer on it. We have unrolled bales on it like 2 or 3 years. Didn't get any unrolled this year. But by God, we're going to put one in here today, and there's probably not going to be a lot left of it. I mean, the cows are going to eat it, which that's what I'm putting it out for, is to keep them from getting, a diarrhea, upset stomach, and get their rumen balanced. There is some really nice grass in here. But you can see, the winter we had them in here and it was wet. And there's some pugging in here a little bit. Well, right there's one. Okay. But if we look on closer identification, what's coming up in that pug mark? See that? Just clover, 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 clover. And I already looked across this paddock. I can't find one manure pile in here. They're already gone. So the worms have come into this new lease farm. They're working it over. Here's the remnants of a stump that I cut. That was a cedar. So that was cut in 2015. It's still there. But you know what? The cows don't care about the stumps. They just graze around them. You talk about a stump. Let me show you this one. This one we actually got to mill the lumber off of. And what I did is I drove a steel post by him. That way if I do come in with a brush hog to knock back some of these sprouts like this one right here, I don't hit that with a brush hog. See, that stump will be there my entire life. I counted the rings on that tree. It was 97 years. So, yeah. That's an old tree. And when we cut it, it was just about dead. I think it was just dying of old age. But the power line liked me a lot for cutting it because it was right underneath the power line. And the top of the tree was actually touching that power line, so probably saved us from having an outage in a windstorm. Look at those cows, man, they're going after it. I love the sound of that. She got one there rubbing on that. I'm sure the utility people wouldn't be too cool about me having the cows rub on that. I'll probably put a wire around that. But it's been in there 5 years and they've never taken it out. So there's another stump. That's a cedar. I'm sorry, that's an elm. That's an elm tree. But it's almost rotted out. Well, there's a nice pea spot. I need to get my pH paper out. You take your pH paper and you can measure what that urine is coming out of that cow. You can just find a leaf there with pee on it. See how close your pH is to 7. The closer to 7 is, the better your animals perform. They just do better. But man, there's a cow right there. Looks like a calf could come any day. Boy, she is really, really spongy. There's another one. I think we counted the other day. There was like 25 or 30 that could come in the next 5 to 10 days. It looks like. So we're going to be having some calves, and that's one of the things that makes it a little challenging in the springtime. Is when you move them, you've got to put a tag in that calf the second day. Don't do it on the first day. We don't. If you go on the first day and tag that calf, all you're doing is upsetting the mother. And if it's the first calf heifer like that little girl right there, she's going to be calving any day. You just don't do that. She will walk off from that calf sometimes, not all of them. But I had one do it, and she walked off. She was licking the calf. Dummy me, I walked up there to put a tag in the calf, and she walked off. And she didn't come back. And I laid the calf beside her after I tagged it, and she wanted nothing to do with it. And that was my fault. I shouldn't have done that. So now we just don't tag them till the second day. Let them get bonded onto their mother. They're easy to catch on the second day. The third day, not so much. I mean, they are fast. That's a beautiful calf right there, that white face one. And here comes Junior. I shouldn't say Junior, that's 007. I'm going to show you all 007. People ask me, what about the South Pole? Are they easy calving? Look at this calf. Now, he's a dainty, tiny little guy, but I'll tell you what, you give him mother's milk. And 2 weeks, he is going to be a chunk. But I'd rather have a small live calf than a big dead one. Okay, because a big dead one, they have terrible weaning weights. And I remember years ago we used to run some big cows for folks, and they'd have these great big old calves. And I weighed one of them, it was 120 pounds dead. And I'm like, what in the world are you doing breeding to a bull that's dropping a 120-pound calf? You know, if you got it out alive, it'd have been a big calf, but it wasn't. And most of them don't come out alive when they're that big. So I'd rather have a 50, 60-pound live calf and let it get on that mother's milk, and by golly, in 2 weeks, you have really got something going. But this is just a beautiful picture. I mean, green. It's supposed to get up to 72 today. The clover, the clovers. Clovers just everywhere. Look at that. It's awesome. Well, anyway, I'm going to sign off here. We're going to go get these cows a big round bale. And for those of y'all new to the channel, welcome. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button on the way out. And we're going to see you all down the road.